for those of you who remember, we've got to remove that and install the water pipe and try and bolt it all back up. Right, let's go and see if we can achieve that then.
Welcome to the top of the world.
Hello and welcome to Top of the World. Audi, where did we finish off the last video? We finished off the last video with some broken bits of plastic pipe that go right in the middle of that engine. Anyway, 2 weeks later, another 2 weeks, right, loads more freezing temperatures. Temperature outside is currently minus 27 degrees Celsius. It's going to be freezing on the inside of the door, but I've got to make a start on this because this Audi's now is taken up all winter in my shop. Well, all winter. We're a long way from being finished winter, I can assure you. Anyway, we are mid-February and it's still sat there. And I pushed that in October. Bad, 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 and bad. If I'd have known I was going this deep, we probably wouldn't have done it. Is where I am with that. That probably would be a Zanussi washing machine about now. Okay, let me show you what I've got. Okay, so this is what we took out. And this is the replacement. Brass. Can't imagine why Audi didn't put one of those in the first place. Can't imagine. Anyway, you spend all that time and effort developing an engine like that, and then you put that bit. Anyway, that's the replacement. The other thing that has arrived is another one of these, which we need. We haven't done anything since I got that bit of plastic pipe out. I haven't touched it, so everything's as it was. We got another one of those. We don't need that. We've already got 2 of those. Come all the way from China. Waste of time that was. Anyway, so we've got another one of these. So we can replace both of these, assuming of course we can get this in and get that whole thing back together, which, you know, I'm not looking forward to, especially as it's freezing inside that door, and I'm going to be back touching cold metal again, and I've got to try and put all this back together. Anyway, that is our replacement bit of pipe. For those of you who don't remember or didn't see the first one, I don't even know how it goes now. Anyway, all these 3 things went to there, and there was rubbers on there, and we pulled all this out from between the oil cooler and the block, and this is a transfer pipe for coolant that runs into and around the oil cooler, and then from there transfers into the block. So we've got to fiddle that back in, not crush any of these, and then do the impossible and screw that whole aluminium oil cooler back onto the block while everything is in situ. Right, let's go and see if we can achieve that then. Okay, so I've got a number of problems. I'll show you in a minute. The thermometer in here is reading 0, so we're at freezing point. The underfloor heating is on. And in 10 years, I've never ever had this building less than 8 degrees, but it's usually around 10 degrees Celsius. And there's nothing I can do. And we're on the other side of this door, it's currently minus 29 degrees Celsius. I keep putting it off and keep putting it off and keep putting it off because, you know, it's going to warm up. And I'm multi-layered. I've got 4 layers on the top, 4 layers on the bottom. My overalls over the top of that, and then this and my hat, and it's actually getting quite difficult to move. I can't wear gloves because I'm in this fiddly thing here, and I can't keep waiting because I've been, you know, we're weeks, and I've had this part now 4 days, and it's just too cold to come in here. Such a big mistake. We got a really rare set of circumstances. So the temperature can drop to minus 40 or below for short periods of time, but never for such a prolonged period of time have we had minus 30 or within a few degrees. And it's day after. It did warm up. 2 days ago we had a bit of snow and it warmed up. But it's just day after day after day, and everything is so cold soaked. It is ridiculously cold soaked. The van won't start. The tractor, it don't want to start, but I have had it started. The turbo on the van has quit, right? So we got engine mount, and it's just cold. It's just cold. So, and now we're cold soaked in here because we're at freezing point. Can I warm this up? Yeah, I have showed you I could put the electric element on. I can't justify the extra cost of the electricity to put extra heat into this building. But it's never dropped down this far. And I was only talking to somebody the other day. The centre of my entire operation is underground. And in the middle of all that, there's a huge furnace that is burning 20 hours a day, 24 hours a day just recently. And I've got ice on the inside of the cellar, which means now the permafrost has gone so deep and is so hard because there's not enough snowpack to insulate the ground on the building. So normally this time of year you'd have 1.5 metre, 5, 6, 7, 8 feet of snow constantly, and that kind of protects it. Well, we don't have that because we've had virtually no snow. And I know with the snow ploughing videos, it looks like there's been a lot of snow. There really isn't. There's nothing compared to what we should have here. But we've got these extreme temperatures. So I've got no choice. So I've got to... But what it does mean is I've got to do a bit and go back into the main building and warm my hands because I can't wear gloves. And I've got to fiddle this little bit of pipe into this and get the engine in the right position so I can pull it out. I have this little concern in the back of my mind, right? Some of you will know where we are. I'll show you in a minute. I can't see how the oil connects. So at the front here, we've got this water pipe we're replacing. I'm assuming there's some kind of... The oil has to flow because you've got the oil filter and the oil cooler. And I don't understand how that's going into the engine. So, and I can't see, for all the lights I've got, I can't see further back to understand how the oil connects when I put this water pipe back in and bolt the whole thing back up. And the schematics are not showing me. It's not clear on the schematic cutaways how the oil flows. It's another concern. The concern being is I put this pipe in, bolt the whole thing back together, reassemble the engine again, and then there's an oil leak. Because I'm at that point, it's really close as to whether I'm going to be able to achieve this. I should be able to achieve this, but the engine's in. I wish I'd started right at the very beginning and took the engine out and rebuilt the engine, but it don't need rebuilding. But anyway, the cold. I've been so cold for so long now. So, and do my feet warm up? Yeah, when I'm asleep. Okay, let me show you. That's inside with the heating on. So I've never seen that like that. You know, it does get cold in there, 8 degrees, but to get to freezing, where are we outside? Do I even want to do this without any gloves? There, looks nice, doesn't it? Looks like it should be a lovely day. But it's not. It's warmed up a bit. Yeah, it's warmed up to minus 26 degrees Celsius. That's sitting there plugged in. I've got no choice because it's got issues, big issues. And that's where we are. We're just stuck. We're just completely stuck in this. No cloud. So cold. That's our total snowpack for the year so far. Bad. Bad, bad and bad. So, there we go. I'm going to have to turn around and go back in now because I've come out here without any gloves. And that's been stuck like that. I've showed you that before. It's still there. It's just, everything is just stuck. We're just stuck. Anyway. You know, we're mid-February, so we have sunlight. There. We're out of the darkness, but the cold... It's just continuous, it's not stopping. Right, what's that? That's part of a Mercedes. Right, plastic, cold. I don't have a Mercedes, Simon, no. That's a car I repaired yesterday. Right, so now I have to go back in and warm my hands up. And then, for those of you who remember, we've got to remove that and install the water pipe and try and bolt it all back up. Right, let's head back to the warm. I haven't even started on that yet. You know, I've got to have that ready. Oh my word. Does he want to move? No, he don't want to move. And he's not eating. He says it's too cold to eat. Don't you, bud? Yeah, I know. You can see the new bit of pipe in there. I've got these two front bolts in. I've got a bottom one at the back. I need to do this top one there, which I've just put in, which is now in the right hole. And then I've got the top one underneath to do. Feels like it's done all the way up, but before I try and tighten it, yeah. Okay, that's that one in. Let's tighten it the same way we undone it, by putting a spanner on the end of that and then a small bar, and then we'll tighten that as hard as we can. Things have not gone so well. We've got less parts, you'll notice. Things have not gone so well with filming, because what I didn't realise was the camera got so cold it shut down. Right. So we have this whole bracket back on now, and if we look in there, right, we can see that new water pipe. The external water pipe, that one there, has gone back flush. I was a bit concerned about that. And we've got the alternator in and the oil filter back on top of the oil housing. One of the things that still concerns me is I have no idea how the oil transfers from the main block to the oil cooler and the oil filter. I don't know, and you can't see the other side of the oil cooler. So I'm hoping that if something in there slides into the main block, it's done so okay. There was no problems with lining all this back up. There was no real problems with bolting it all back together in there. The electrical connectors are on, the pipe's connected up. Everything is done underneath. We can start putting all the pulleys and brackets and engine mount back together now, and start rebuilding this. And then we can put the serpentine belt, which is laying up there, on the right way, and then we're into all this malarkey here. But for now, yeah, that has taken, I'm going to say, 5 hours to get that lot back and done the way it is. So we should make a lot more progress tomorrow. A lot more progress tomorrow by way of getting anything back. I can refill the engine oil now, because the oil filter, which you may or may not be able to see down in there, it's a very difficult place. So there is one other thing which is running round and round in my head. I'm going to show you it. When we go underneath the car here, that's why I didn't see it before. Okay. Oh yeah, you can see it. If you look up through there, right, that black thing there is the oil cooler. Well, above it is a clean piece of metal and a thread. It's out of focus because it wants to. I'm going to turn the camera. Right. Seasickness, hold on to yourselves. Can I even get in there? Can I see it? There. See that clean bit of metal and that thread? Well, it's clean. Well, I didn't take anything out of there. I have no idea what that is for. And I can't get to it. So I don't understand how that bit of metal and that thread is so clean. So that's bothering me a little. because I don't know what goes there. And something clearly went there. And I haven't got anything to go there. So, I don't know. But the oil filter's back in. We're all bolted up underneath here. All the bolts are back in. Everything's tightened back up. But that, I don't know what that is. But it's clean. It should be full of grime and dirt and stuff, and it isn't. And I don't know what goes in there. I don't remember taking anything out of there. And I've got nothing left down here. So I don't know exactly what it is. All of this is to do with the front of the engine now. Come on, focus. All of this that I've got left is just the front of the engine. I don't have anything else left. That's all stuff for the bumper. Right, that's all stuff for the inner wheel arches and the wings. So, I don't have anything to go on to that. Anyway, we're back onto this now. So, let's get that bracket back on and all the pulleys back on and the engine mount back on. And then we can go back to setting up the belts. And we've got the new serpentine belt, so we'll be able to put that on in the way that it's supposed to be on. So, next morning, I had to get up really early this morning because we've had to keep the furnace going 24 hours. Nothing's changed. Here it has. So when I turned off the camera last night and said that was it, well, that wasn't it. So I put the covers back on the timing chain. I put the serpentine belt on, obviously put the alternator back in. So we're kind of done with the block, and then we were moving on to these here, this mess. Okay, well, I had a nasty feeling. This one here that was all wired up. Don't ask me why I didn't check it before. Anyway, when we remove this, we can actually see, you've got to see the other one, the nipple, for want of a better word, is snapped off of that one. Wow, that's going to give me the arse. Right, that's just, it's just something else. So now I'm going to have to take this whole thing off, spring and all, and see if I can't fix that. So these bars, you know, they need to clip on to those, essentially. And yeah, well, it's snapped off, and that's why it was wired up like that. Well, we can't have that, so let me get that off and then we'll see what we could do. I could have ordered one of these up at the same time, see? Stupid. Anyway, there we go. Right, let's get that mess off and then we can see where we are. Okay, as I suspected, plastic. Great. And the nipple has snapped off. I should be so lucky. Right, show you what I got. Now, whoever did the wiring job, this, went to a great deal of trouble to do that, and he took this off, and there was wires wrapped round the back, and it was all in place, and it all worked. So, whilst there is a spring on there, right, this is plastic, and you can see the indentation in the back where during moulding they force that out and that produces the nipple on the end there. Well, that's snapped off, and I need to recreate that. I could just order another one of these bits of plastic, but enough delays already. So I got this, right, which is the broken one off of the other old one of these, which has the right kind of nipple on it. So initially I thought about grinding that off the back and then trying to drill this, right, with a very fine bolt, and then flatten this off, place that on there and bolt it through the back with a washer. That would work. Could I do that? Yeah, I could do that. And then I'm looking at this plate that it's sat on. can I heat this plate out, up and flatten it out, right, and fashion it so that the whole plate, the metal plate, falls over the top. This bends where. Can I do something with that to make that fit on there to turn this nipple into a metal nipple instead of a plastic nipple? I believe so. I believe so. So I'm going to try that first, and then I'm going to try fashioning this as a secondary plate onto the face of this with several fixings so that I can make that metal instead of plastic. Should I order one of these in case? Well, yeah, the other one's plastic. If I can find them, I'll order one. But for the meantime, it will take me, I don't know, 30 minutes to an hour to make this work, as opposed to another 2 weeks or 3 weeks, or when anybody ever decides to deliver anything anywhere. Okay, let's see if I can fashion that to that. Remove all this, and then this one isn't broke, but we are replacing it. All right, clean, real clean. Okay, that's that repair I made. We're now metal to metal. That's bolted in through there, it's bolted in through the side, doesn't interfere with anything. Works lovely. This is new, that's new, that's new, that's new. This works. Everything works. All the vacuum sorted out, none of that ugly wiring. Got the air box back in. Now I've got to put the fan on and then put the ducting underneath for the air-cooled alternator, and then we're ready to put this back on, which is my personal nightmare because of the connections for the radiator. It is very, very difficult to get them to work. Anyway, so we can swing this back in, put the fan on, swing this back in, put the oil cooler back up out the way. I'm amazed that's been down there for as many weeks as it has and not get destroyed. The serpentine belt's on the right way. Yeah, we're looking good. I've got it partially assembled. I managed to spill coolant again, but I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready to start it. We can't say it's the first start because this is the third time I've had this apart and put it back together, but I have got the headlights in now. Now we're topped off with oil and fluid. The radiator hoses went on surprisingly easily, which is a bit concerning in itself. Anyway, so I'm expecting to start it this time without all that squealing and banging and carrying on. Let's see what happens. Where's the key? On the roof, Simon. Obviously. if I'm honest, doesn't sound like an engine that a carpenter's rebuilt, if you know what I mean. Right, I'm going to put it through its series of heat cycles again, and nothing's running out the bottom, so I'll put it through its series of heat cycles whilst continuing to put the bits of trim on and stuff, and then we'll be ready for the bumper. I haven't put the bumper on because at the moment I've still got access to everything, but once that thermostat opens, if there ain't nothing leaking, then I can start putting the front back together. Right, so next morning I did my heat cycles. I continued to put things together. Right, so it's coming, but ooh. That's minus 30 degrees Celsius. There we go. And I've been up on the roof this morning, and I've got their gloves on, cleaning the chimney out. And the reason for that being is I haven't cleaned it in, well, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 weeks, I don't know, because it's been so cold. And where the top of the chimney is, it coagulates and starts restricting, and I can tell. Yeah, still no gloves, still minus 30. There we go. That has been getting worse and worse and worse, and yesterday it was below minus 30 all day, and I couldn't get the outgoing water temperature above 40 degrees. So I need the outgoing water temperature 50, 60 degrees because the return temperature. Anyway, it's very complicated because it's such a large building, such a large complex. See all that? It's all heated with that one thing, and it's minus 30, as I've just shown you. And the reason for showing you is, last night I'm flicking through YouTube, as you do, and there was this, it was titled Surviving Off-Grid in minus 67 degrees Celsius. Well, that's colder than the coldest place I know. So, it's still minus 30. So, I started to watch it, and he's come out of this little cabin made of pallets, gone round the back, and he's starting a generator, right? No, minus 67 you ain't. Minus 67, right, that generator's solid. So, was there exaggeration on temperature? Oh, yes. Right, minus 30. Is anything going to start? Is that going to even turn over? No, that's solid. Tractor solid. Everything is solid. Nothing's turning over. And you come inside an insulated and heated room, and what's the temperature today? Still 0. Might be -1. Right, inside. Anyway, so how are we doing? Right, well, let's have a little look. That was from the spill yesterday. Nothing. Got to top that up. We think we might have cracked it this time. What's that? Well, since it's not possible to come from above, we're going to have to ignore it and say that was probably already there where it's been lying down. There is some other fluid in there, but again, that's an oil cooler, so I've got all this together. I can't get this to line up. So this lines up all right. But I just got to fiddle about with this. I don't know why that's like that. And then we've got to fit the bumper and the wheel wells and do the rest of the fixings up. So, and then we can run it up again. And then it's about getting this big thing there underneath, fitted underneath. Because this car's never had one of those when I got it. And you must have that outside. Absolutely imperative, because all the electronics and everything are covered. You know, my friend crashed his car 2 days ago, and I went and dug it out the snow, and he's hit big ice things, and anyway, it smashed all the plastics underneath, and the wheel linings, and the engine cover, and the belly pan. And it's Mercedes, and all the wiring and all the electronics is all exposed. And I kind of, got it going enough, but nothing's fixed properly. I did tell him, it's drivable, but you shouldn't continue to drive it like that, because under these more modern cars, especially this one, it's got so many electronics underneath there. You go out in that's done. So we have to fit this. It's got no fixings. I did buy some fixings. Then, when we've got all that done, we can finally put the front wheels on and take it off the blocks. And maybe, just maybe, how's your list going, Simon? Look, done, complete. There are two things that are not on there. Right, put in OBD11 reader and change the dashboard to English. And this, I think I said this once before, this is not the original tailgate. And it does close, but you have to push it really hard to open it. So I've got to do some adjustment there. How's the interior looking? Well, it's hard to say really, because I'm just working off the light on the camera, which is not very good. But there's no mould, I don't think. Hey buddy, how does he manage when it's like this? We literally go outside. He's got his ball because we play ball inside, but we've had problems with that this year because, there's an Audi stuck here. He literally goes out, does what he needs to do and comes in. Limping sometimes. Don't you, bud? Yeah, you limp sometimes. All right. So now I finished doing the chimney and I've showed you what the temperature is, because we've been cleaning it for 2 hours and done the furnace and all this, got everything alight. Really happy with all this. I did mean to check this. Yeah, good enough. And we have a little topping up on there to do, which means the air is coming out the system. Yeah, wouldn't it be nice if we cracked it this time? I'm at the stage of fitting this. Now, as I said, when I got the car, I didn't have one of these. Right, and this wheelie needs to go on at the same time we're putting the wheel liners in. So, in preparation to put that on, many weeks ago, months ago, I bought a generic set of plastic pop fittings, which that is going to need. And this is all the different plastic fittings that you need in a car. I think it's probably these ones that I need. Anyway, this is what you need. I've had some bad experiences with the late model Mercedes where all of these have to be snapped out just to do a service. Anyway, so let's go back out here into the cold. This is an auto dock product. The first one allegedly got delivered, but it didn't get delivered to me. And then it got returned, and then they sent this one out. Right, and it very clearly says on here. Right, Audi A6. Right, that's what it says. And that's what I bought. And it might be an Audi A6. But none of the holes, come on, focus. None of the holes, right, anywhere on here, line up to anything on this car. Is this an Audi A6? Yes. Is this allegedly a 1999 to fit this? Yes. Nothing, not one hole anywhere around the perimeter of this lines up to anything on that. Is this the first time? No. I would say 70% of everything I've ordered for this car from Autodoc that I've waited extra time for a specialist to tell me that it's absolutely it's not. It absolutely isn't. The months this has been sat here, a large proportion of that time has been waiting for parts. And when it's not been waiting for parts, it's actually been too cold to do anything in here. Is it below zero now? Yes. Am I working in freezing temperatures? Yes. But I'm so mad, it don't matter. So now I've got to make this. I've got to drill this and make this fit that All right, bud. I'm not shouting at you. I'm shouting at this. Anyway. So you'd think, oh, well, there's, you know, just a dozen fittings in that. Could fit that screw all that back. Yeah. No. Right. I'll fit it my way then. But I thought, you know, if we get the original and we use the right things, because you've got to remove this every time you do a service. Right? You got to make it easy. No. Right then. Well, I can't even tell you how long it's taken to get those wheel liners back in there and this ruddy bit of plastic underneath. Christ, I've had to drill holes into the chassis. Right, so how have I done it? Well, I've pinned it along the front with a whole row of continuous self-tapping screws to ensure it was straight and square. And then at the back in the centre, I've drilled through into what was the original underbelly pan holder. And then in the back rear corners, I'll show you what I've done there. Anyway, it's on there and it's good. Is there a question mark, right, as to whether this is upside down? Well, you can question all you like, but this is the way it went on. Okay, so I tried it up both ways and neither way fitted and neither way lined up. The trouble was, when it was up the other way, the bits that go into the wheel arches were sticking down. So now you've got, there's curls, I'll show you. So in the corners here, I've drilled, where are we? There you go, I've drilled into the chassis so I can hold it there, same on the other side. Right, so these bits that turn up here, with it up the other way, they're turned down, which obviously come 4 inches below the car. So that's the right way. Anyway, it's there and it's properly secured and the wheel linings are back in. Done. Right, so next thing is get the front wheels on and get it off the blocks. Get it sat on all 4 of its wheels. Is there anything to do under here? No, there isn't. I think, in actual fact, because we've checked, rechecked and checked again, we could, assuming it all lines up, ooh, shut that. Right. Stand back. Stand back. No, the bonnet's not a different colour. It's just that it's covered in dust. So the whole car needs polishing now. Right, so we've got to get the wheels on, get the blocks off, and then the rest of the work is on the inside. I need to sort out the hatch. I need to change it from German to English, and the cup holder is sticking out, and I had the trim off to see if I can deal with that. And then I am ready to drive it outside to give it a proper run up, because yesterday during the heat cooling cycles, I just filled the entire building with exhaust, which is no good. So, and I can't get it out because it's too cold. So it's going to warm up next couple of days. I'm going to now put the front wheels on and get it sat on its own tyres for the first time. And it's never sat on these wheels before because these are the winter wheels. We got the spacers on in order to make them fit. Right, so next day, we've had a bit of a break in the weather. It's about -18 at the moment. Yesterday, I gassed out the entire building, trying to run it up and put yet another heat cycle through it. And caused a problem in the lower 2 levels of this floor because the exhaust piled straight down there and flooded out the cellars, which the chickens didn't appreciate very much. And this level, even with the door shut, it filtered all the way through. So I'm going to take it outside. Right, this is the first time it's moved in months under its own steam. This morning I've cleaned off all the dust. I was going to start cleaning up the paintwork, but I'm not going to do it until I've done this run. Now, it is chucking up 2 errors. One error is the water washer bottle has got no fluid in it, and I can't put no fluid in it because I haven't got the antifreeze stuff to go in it. And the other one is the headlight adjustable variant doodah. There's sensors on both axles. Well, where I've put new springs and shocks and sway bar and everything on the back, when I've let it down, you can see it's sitting high. It's sitting way high. That's what's set that off. So I'm hoping that's going to sort itself out. But anyway, we're going to open up the door and we're going to put it outside for a longer warm-up. That's the plan. Keys on.